Go ahead, Michael, please.
Okay, yeah, I was talking about the 360 a little bit more, and I know we talked about this in previous episode with Ryan. Who was that? What was your friend we talked to? Who? Was like
Greg Canessa.
Yeah. We talked to him about Xbox Live Arcade, and so I kind of want to get your perspective on the push for Xbox Live Arcade. What was that like? Because it was such a key part in like what you were doing with bridging the gap between Xbox and the community, and then pushing these indie games or these smaller scale games as another way to, engage with the platform and discover things that people wouldn't find otherwise. So like there was a discoverability aspect to it. And so I kind of want to get your insight on that.
That was always that was, first of all, Greg, I adore him. He's a great friend. I haven't talked to him in a long time. But when they came and we were working on Xbox Live Arcade, it was exactly, Michael, exactly what you said. But it was also also another thing that was really critically important. Mm-hmm. This was the first managed device that had an app store. Think about it. Yeah. Steam had come out, but that was on PC, so it was it was open.
Pre-iPhone.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So this is the very first time a device that was managed, meaning you couldn't just open and put any operating system or really, it was a managed device, that we had a curated app store. That was the first one.
Wow.
So we didn't realize what we were stumbling into, but the most important part of this was, hey, here's a game. You can download it now. It was the beginning of that generation because the games, remember, they all had to be under a certain file size and so on and so forth. So it was a real amazing thing that we did there that when you look back, you're like, well, of course. But looking down there, and I could tell there's certain moments in my career that I could tell there's going to be that were incredibly special. That was one of them. I said, this is the beginning of a new era. The other one, unfortunately, was Horse Armor.
Oh, great. Yeah. Man. Because that goes hand in hand, right? With like being able to
exactly right.
Building an app store. It's like the benefit is like, I got downloadable games. I got small size games. I can play it right now. And there's a sense of connectedness and immediacy that is now expected, but was not back then. So it was a novelty.
Again, people take it for granted because now we've got always connected devices that you can do high-def video and download anything. But you didn't have to go, I could sit on my couch in the middle of a blizzard and download a game. Boom.
Yeah. But as a consequence, too, it paved the way for like microtransactions that rub people the wrong way. So
I'm not going to say that that's abuse, but everybody was testing different ways to I don't want to say exploit it, but use that system.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, I have vivid memories, of course, working at OXM of the original Xbox after Xbox Live had come online. There were some publishers that were testing the waters then with free DLC, like Ubisoft specifically. They added, I think, one of them was called Conacell. They added extra missions for free to Splinter Cell.
Yes.
But eventually, of course, it became a paid thing, and now the whole does it kind of do you think it's a little crazy, Larry, that the entire world is microtransactions now? Like when you fly on an airline, it's a microtransaction. Like microtransactions are everywhere now, and they arguably started with the 360.
It's your fault.
No, you know what? There's two things that I kind of smile at the corner of my mouth with when it happens. One is exactly that. Wait, my car, I want to unlock heated seats. What's going on here? Well, no. Two, it's when I see the gamification, because we did that with achievements. So there's two areas where that you can look back and draw a direct, solid line to those two elements specifically. And of course, then of course we talked about the app store, the managed app store. So do not, the Xbox 360, great gaming platform. We're not going to deny that, but this is a great opportunity to talk about all these other innovations. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm so incredibly proud to have been part of that team. It was a dream. It was an absolute dream.
Yeah. Since we're on the topic of this too, it's like being the face of a community and having to interface with a lot of the fans, like when there is kind of pushback on, microtransactions or like because the growing trend, people were like pretty fiery about it. It was new and they didn't know how to react. And now it's kind of like we roll our eyes sometimes or we just accept it. But like at the time, like how hard was it to like
it
kind
was
of
hard
be
because this was a new era. this was a new paradigm. This was something that, and I would have done the same thing. Like, oh my God, what's going on? I don't understand it. But fortunately we had developer partners that some of the DLC was high quality. Brian talked about some of it was free. So everybody was really experimenting with this framework and this platform that we helped develop. And someone's going to be successful. At the end of the day, it's the numbers, right? It's going to sell or not sell.
Larry, recently you had posted on social media showing off your never turned on launch team Xbox 360 that was only distributed. It was a special edition, version distributed only to the people that worked on launching the 360. Yeah. So I'm not going to ask you to turn it on because God only knows.
Let me. Do you want me to get it? Let me get it for you.
Yeah, get it. Okay, get it.
Special treat
show
for
it,
those.
and then I have a question about it.
Yeah, special treat for those who watch the video version. Look at this.
So I've got two that sit up on the shelf behind me. Two things. So one is here's the launch console.
Yes,
and you can see it.
Slick.
Again, we designed the console to be either horizontal or vertical.
Right. And doesn't it
feet
does
on the
the
bottom.
hard drive have your name or gamer tag engraved on it? Do I remember that correctly?
Sure does.
Yeah.
Sure does.
It's out of there it goes. It just focus. Come on, focus.
I'll bring it back here a little bit. But it's in fact, let's not forget, Ryan.
It snaps off.
They popped off.
Yeah.
So here it is. Here it is.
There it is. Yep. Major Nelson with the concentric rings over there.
That's so sick.
And so this has never been turned on. And then, oh, by the way, we've got this little, I made this at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's got some really cool stuff in here. Oh. This has never been turned on because I remember getting this and I was so proud that I was on the team that made this. And I was like, I'm going to save this because this is going to be something. And here we are 20 years later. And this, she looks as new as the day that I took it out of the box. I mean, picking this up, I just get emotional. I mean, I don't know if you can see.
I understand that. Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
The production date on this is manufactured October 9th, 2005.
So like first run of the retail units, basically.
Very, very first run of the retail unit. And also, it's funny, we also forget, it had a proprietary power adapter.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It had a proprietary AV adapter.
Yeah. Yep.
This was USB over here, which was new above the Ethernet, and then we had the two USBs behind the port in the front too.
Yeah, this is before HDMI was the standard.
Yep, so actually
long before.
So I sitting on my shelf behind me, I've got that. But the other thing that's really precious to me, and I don't think anyone's ever seen this, so this is maybe an exclusive.
Whoa,
we'll take it.
World premiere.
This is a mini Xbox 360 that contains all of the custom chips that we did.
That's awesome.
So cool.
And this was given to our partners that were that helped us realize the vision of Xbox 360. So this sits on the shelf behind me as a reminder of the power of partnership and just what it takes. At the end of the day, these chips did all the hard work. I don't know which one was responsible for Red Ring of Death, but these chips did the hard work.
I've never seen that before, and I know
that's why I wanted to bring it out for you.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That is super cool. So if you're after 20 years at Microsoft, if your Microsoft stock did not allow you to retire comfortably, you could sell those two things and you'd probably be very, very set to go for the remaining years of your life.
I will say this is I have nothing bad to say about the company. I was there. I had the time and ride of my life. And it is one of my greatest professional achievements without a doubt. So I'm proud to say that I work there, and I'm proud that what we built, that so many people were interested in it and just really, because really at the end of the day, I don't know if you've ever heard us say this, we built it for ourselves and we had the greatest time. And one of the funny things is we used to have to, back in the day, Ryan, I don't know if you remember this, we used to have to take the service down like overnight when it was being upgraded. And so it was a big deal because we would bring it up and it would only allow us internally on our IP numbers to hit it once it came back online. So we all had discs. We all had to go to our office and test the disc that it could log in, and it worked. So there were hundreds of us with hundreds of discs each, every single game. And we always used to say, wow, okay, I guess we need to open up Xbox Live to the rest of the world now, because we knew who it was. And so we had fun with it. And it was like, okay, come on in, everybody else.
Oh,
so good. last question on your launch team 360 there. Is that device that was in your hands moments ago, could that be the last surviving example of the Blades dashboard? Because that's what's baked on there right now.
I'm actually going to tell you another little secret. Yes, it probably is. But
it must be protected at all costs.
Yeah. Everybody's like, don't turn it on. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if I could find the power supply anymore. So don't worry about that. But the funny thing is I remember I talked a moment ago about how there's moments in your life that you don't realize a day later, you realize at that moment, this is a significant moment.
Yeah.
And I remember, I believe it was August 15th, 2005. We were in a meeting. It was middle of August. And we were deciding if this build number, that we had to send the build number to manufacturing because they had to start making them.
Right.
And it's build number 1888. That is what you took out of the box that gave you the blades right there. So I remember 1888. It's like seared in my brain. So I remember sitting in that meeting and engineering and test and QA and everybody going, yep, 1888. That's the one. Let's go. And there was a little party after that. Because remember, we didn't really have a way to we had to ship something there that system updates, day one updates were something that hadn't really been invented or adopted yet. So we didn't have that concept.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you're reminding me, I believe it was mid to late September. So like a little over a month later at OXM, we got our 360s.
Yeah.
Because, we in the magazine, we're working like 2 months ahead. And this was, we would be doing everything way ahead of time. And that was, I remember that we were all like adults but except like kids on Christmas morning, but we were all adults. Like it was, that was a special day, with the day that we got all of our 360s and could actually start.
We took so much care in the packaging and the branding and just everything about it was bespoke and we loved it. And it was handcrafted. I mean, I know in one of the earlier videos we had one of the designers talking about, Ryan, do you remember how we used to describe this profile?
The inhale, right?
Exactly. This was the console inhaling before it explodes with energy.
Yes.
And so we had this whole design philosophy of, and I remember going into the Millennium D, I was on the 3rd floor, I don't remember the number, but it was the design lab and we had sample consoles that we designed. This was like a year and a half or 2 years before of what it was going to look like. Because at the end of the day, you pull the console apart, all it is a PC board. But what is it going to look like? And I remember looking at all the different ones and I would go in there sometimes and just, seriously, this is how intense we were and how much I loved what I did. I would sit in there sometimes with the lights low looking at each one. And then I go over and turn it on its side. How would it look under the TV? And just really getting like vibing with each individual one. And this one always came to the top.
Damn.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, it's also like being part of the community and like being involved with the team. Like, this was a pretty state-of-the-art piece of tech, especially in gaming and especially in 2005. We had never experienced HD gaming before. Like having this run at 720p was crazy for off of a console. But with that push in technology also came like a lot of, difficulties along with that. And you had mentioned the Red Ring of Death. So like when that started to become pretty prominent within the community, like how did y'all handle that internally? And I know that there was initiatives to get your 360 fixed and without cost. But I think like that must be like such a, like, it's like, how do you handle that internally and how do you like be the face of the community when things like this are happening?
Yeah. Was there a moment where it just dawned on all of you that you were like, oh, this is bad?
I'll tell you this. I have a very peculiar sixth sense of things like this. And I remember seeing a couple things pop up in the Xbox forums when we had forums. And I remember calling the head of the ATG, which is our advanced technology group. And I said, hey, something's going on here. I think this isn't right. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, we looked at it. And then that's when I remember I was like, I had been at Microsoft full time for 4 or 5 years at this point. I got pulled into a meeting with Robbie Bach, and they're like, "What is the community saying?" And then Robbie, and Peter, they're like, and Jay, they're like, "We got to do the right thing." And that's when they had to go to Steve Ballmer and say it's going to cost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Or so. Wow. I don't remember the exact number.
I think it was two. Peter told the story on Podcast Unlocked episode 201 when I had him and Phil and Seamus. I think it might have been $2 billion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember this. It just lose track of it. But because it was just so. I was like, and everybody was like, no, we're going to do the right thing here. And that's what we did. So if you remember, you got the coffin, the box in, you put your console in, and we sent you another console. So it cost us a lot of extra money to do this. Mm-hmm. But it had to be, there's Carl. Oh God, I love Carl. He's still there. And Albert, Albert's a dear friend of mine, is that we wanted to do the right thing by the community. You trusted us. You trusted us with your money. You chose us as a platform, and we are going to make it right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, I mean, obviously it's the right call because me as a kid, I'm like, yo, I want my 360 back. Like, I want to make sure it works. Yeah, but I think like it's hard to quantify what kind of influence that has in the future. Like, yes, it's going to cost upwards of $1 billion to do this, but what you get in turn is like you retain the people that you got in the first place long term. And like, do you quantify that? Like, I imagine that's part of the conversations as well. Like, no, this is the right thing to do. It's going to cost a lot now, but trust me, like when we're talking about keeping people on your platform, that level of trust will pay off. And that's hard to quantify.
And it absolutely did. I mean, when you look, it was a hard pill to swallow. We knew we had to do it. There's Todd. We knew we had to do it. And it was the right thing to do, and we knew we would come out of it. But once people started saying, thank you, I got it back, I'm playing again, it just all of a sudden, Red Ring became almost a meme as opposed to something that could have torpedoed the brand.
Well, do you ever wake up in a cold sweat now, like thankful that didn't happen like 5 years later when social media had, like, if that happened now to Microsoft, to Sony, to Nintendo, it would be absolutely catastrophic, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It would be absolutely that. You're right, because everybody, especially now with I would see nothing. YouTube would be nothing but of the red ring of death. Okay. And it would just be gross. So yeah, I mean, but I'll tell you, gentlemen, we handled it so well. The team professionally executed. It made my job kind of easy because we just did the right thing. When you're at this crossroads in life and you're like, this is the right thing to do, everything else lines up, and you as the community understood it. You embraced us. You're like, thanks for doing the right thing. There's other times that kept me up late at night that, we could talk about another time if you want, but this isn't it.
What were some of this is super open-ended question. What were some of your favorite memories from the 360 era? I mean, you kind of touched on the launch in the desert, but you got things like Halo 3's launch. But what pops to mind when I ask you that question of some of those just highlight memories, big moments?
It's so the moment those doors opened up in out in Palmdale when we were doing, in fact, I've got my sweatshirt here for 0 Hour. We were there at 0 Hour, like, hey, let's do a party in the desert. We didn't know if anybody was going to show up. We didn't know if one person was going to show up, 1,000 or 10,000. But all of a sudden, it was like out of a movie where down this dusty road and the dust is going up and the people are coming and coming. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. So that happened. So we knew we had something. And then the doors opened up and Peter Moore and Jay Allard are up on the scaffolding. I remember being with them. So that was one. We didn't have the instant feedback that we did now of Twitter and TikTok and all the rest of those things. So just going online and seeing the stories and seeing people love what we did, and then going back into the Millennium office and having our engineers work on the things and seeing people accept it. I remember so vividly. We had backwards compatibility on Xbox 360. Before we announced that, the engineers who were working on it were downstairs around the hall for me. And I would go by on my way to lunch or back from lunch or to a meeting. And I would always see this number in a piece of paper on the front of one of the lead engineers, 2. And it was 2. And then a couple days later, it was 3.
So meaning Halo 1 and Halo 2, the number of games?
Nope.
No.
It was frames per second they were getting.
Oh.
And all of a sudden they hit a point and it was now 20, 21, 22. And they were going seriously engineering day by day to get a frame every single day out of the backwards compatibility. And I remember standing there and the shivers came down my spine because I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And there's the doors opening and out there. It was just amazing. So that's one of the moments. The other moment was being down, I think it was the Halo 3 launch. Was that New York City, Ryan? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I wasn't at the like sort of official launch because I had the great privilege of I'd already reviewed the game at Bungie like 2 months before that. Thanks for checking out this clip from Unlocked, IGN's weekly Xbox show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to watch the full episode at youtube.com/IGN Games. New episodes of Unlocked drop every Thursday on IGN Games, IGN.com, and your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.